Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of How to Dwarf Fortress Basics. Here is another one that's a bit bigger for a fact, but is still usually lost in the confusion, is how do you set up a hospital? Hospitals actually require a fair bit of infrastructure behind them because they require many components. They require beds, they require medical supplies, they require, well, in my opinion, they require their own individual well, just to cut down on the pathing times between treating the various wounded dwarves. And you need specific things like a traction bench, which means you also need mechanisms. You need ropes. And you need chests. But let's start from scratch. So the first thing you need to do, we'll use my big area here that's already been mined out as the hospital in quotation marks. First, we need to go under zones and create a zone for it. So this is roughly how big the zone will be. And now we will designate it a hospital zone with H. Now we can go into hospital information and see what we are missing. So currently we have no beds for the recovering wounded. We have no tables upon which to perform operations. We have no traction benches to set bones. And no storage capacity. Well, that's a problem. So we would set up some beds, but first let's configure. So thread, these are units that are not quite apparent in game. You know, one bundle of cloth is equal to will be broken down into some of these units. I forget what the exact ratio is, but it can be quite a lot, especially with thread and cloth. And unfortunately, once you start mining adamantine thread is going to get mixed into your hospital without some extra care. But this seems to be a pretty good stockpile for things. Oh, that's right. You also need a soap industry to prevent infections. Yep, hospitals require a lot of setup. You also require a chief medical dwarf with the diagnosis skill, so they can figure out what is wrong with your dwarves. And you're also going to need some dwarves that are skilled in cutting and setting of bones. And there's another couple other medical skills, but if you're using dwarf therapists like you should, it will highlight them in a specific color of what those skills should be. Now, let's see. What can we actually do here without actually setting up a lot of industry? Right, so you can change the account mounts. Let's see, we have beds, tables, traction benches. Yeah, that's all going to require constructing workshops and such. Let's see, powder for cast. That's gypsum powders. It's easiest to import from caravans, or just bring a lot with you on your initial embark. And right, so now they have the zone set up. I would usually go under the manager, queue new orders. I need beds, let's say 6. I need chests for storage. Who cares what they're made of at this point? 5 of them. And let's see, traction benches. Let's say 5 more of those. Queue some tables. Sure, made of iron. Not so it's at least partly sterile. Let's see, what is it? Bed, chests, traction benches, iron table. Right, soap. We need soap. Right, soap from tallow is the easiest to acquire. And what else was there? Right, already got... So, yeah, beds, tables, traction benches, and storage. The chief medical dwarf is designated under nobles. And no one has the relevant skill of diagnoser. So you'd be making do. Alright. So, dwarves being a lazy lot, the doctors will take forever to get around to your dwarves, but sometimes they eventually will. And wound care is pretty much automatic. The dwarves who have the appropriate labors enabled will go out, find wounded, bring it back to the hospital for treatment for however long that will take. All right. So I'll see you in the next topic. Good night.